Good evening. Welcome to our parent course registration meeting for the class of 2023. We're so glad you could join us this evening to go through the new process for the junior class for course selection. I'd like to introduce you to the counseling staff at Plano East. First, we have Nancy Swiker. She has students with the last name A through BO. Then we have Crystal Livingston, who has students with the last name BR through D. Then Jan Hughes, who has students E through HERN. Next, we have Jennifer Whitney. She has students with the last name HERR through LL. Then we have Sherry Newman, who deals with students with the last name LO through NGO. Then we have Janetta Dixon with students with the last name NGU through RE. Then we have Craig Loveland, who has students with the last name RH through STO. And then we have Angela Sharp, who has students with the last name STP through Z. In addition to the 8 counselors that serve our Alpha group, we also have 2 IB counselors. Our 2 IB counselors deal with grades 9 through 12 of students in the IB program. We have Miss Timmy Lehman, who has students A through L in grades 9 through 12. And then we have Miss Emily Huang, who has students M through Z in grades 9 through 12 that are IB students. In addition, there's myself, Jennifer Spring, the Director of Guidance here at Plano East. And we have 2 secretaries, Kathy Dahlquist and Anna Talbot, to assist you. All right, if you have any questions this evening, we ask that you type those in the chat room. So please feel free to do that. We will have counselors that will be answering the chat room as the meeting goes on this evening. So feel free to type in any questions you might have about the course selection process or anything about what we cover tonight in the PowerPoint presentation. So the first item that you see up here is the PESH registration resource page for 2022 to 2023. You received this in an email back on the Friday before we left for winter break. So we sent an email out to all of the students and parents of 11th graders. And the link in there took you to this page right here. And as you will see, it gives you the course selection sheet. It gives you access to how to get onto the self-serve system. It gives you the information about graduation, the course catalogs, and so all types of things on this resource sheet. What I'm going to encourage you to do is save this to your computer. If you could find that email from December the 17th, that link on there, they're all live links on that. So you would have access then when you click on any of the blue links there, you'll have access to that information in a one-stop shop. So I would encourage you to put this somewhere on your computer where you can access it. It is also on our Plano East Counseling website for you to access also if you by any chance can't find the email. Okay, let's go over the graduation credits. So by now, I'm sure you probably are quite familiar with these credits since you're about to have a senior before we know it. And so let's just review those. So when you're helping your students select classes, you'll have an idea again of what they need to select from. So all students are required to have 4 years of English. We want you to have 4 years of math, 4 years of science, and 4 years of social studies. These are what we call the core requirements. So you'll earn 16 credits through those 4 core requirements. Then we ask, the state requires you to take 2 years of foreign language. And so we have lots of options here for students to select from. Most of the time, by the the time the student gets to senior year, they've already completed their foreign language. But if for some reason they have not, then you'll want to make sure that your student does select the second year of their language or for graduation. Then you're required to have a year of PE. Remember that PE can be earned through sports, it can be earned through marching band, it can be earned through JROTC, and so regular PE classes we have. All of those things are options for students to earn that PE credit, but they must have 2 semesters of PE. Then you have to have a semester of health, a semester of speech. The actual technical name is professional communications, but we refer to it as speech. That's a semester of that. And then you must have a fine art credit. Fine arts can be band, orchestra, choir. It can be floral design. It can be art. So there's a wide variety of courses if your student has not met their fine art requirement for them to choose from. And then at the very bottom, they'll choose from their 5 elective credits. And so they need 5 elective credits for it to total to the 26 that are required for graduation. So the state of Texas tells schools how many credits that a student needs, and then the district can require anything over that number. And what Plano ISD requires is 26 for their students. But you also must make sure that your student has successfully completed the STAR, or what we call EOC test. So in 9th grade, normally a student would take the English 1 EOC test, along with the Algebra 1 EOC test and the Biology EOC test. So in addition to the student taking and passing the class, they must also take the test at the end of each year and be successful on that. And then in 10th grade, they'll take the English 2 EOC at the end of the year. And then US history will be at the end of this year. So for those of you that your students is in 11th grade, they'll take that US history EOC test in May. The entire school, the entire junior class will take that here on campus. And that would be their last EOC test if they've passed all the others. If for some reason your student has not passed all of them, we continue to give them opportunities this spring to take the test again. In the summertime, they have opportunities. And then during senior year, they have several options also to take any of the tests that they might need to complete to meet graduation requirements. All right, let's start talking about some additional things to consider when you're helping your child make their selection for next year. First off, we want to talk about AP courses. So some of you, your students may have already started in AP courses, either in 10th grade or in 11th grade. And then some of you, maybe your child has not started on any AP courses, but you're interested in that. And so AP courses are done through College Board, and they're a set curriculum that around the world students can take these AP courses, and it's an opportunity for a student to be able to earn some college credit through these AP courses. So when you're thinking about AP, I would say look at what your strengths are and what your interests are, because normally students tend to do better in a course that that's their strength and that's their interest. Then I would also have your student talk to their teacher. So if I'm, let's say I'm in pre-cal and I'm thinking about taking an additional math class next year, and I'm trying to decide between AP statistics and AP calculus. That would be a good conversation to have with your math teacher, with the student's math teacher, to see what they recommend for your child to take if they wanted to take another year of math. Or same thing for any of the history courses or English courses that are offered through AP. Please have a discussion about the amount of work involved in the courses, and also with the teacher as to what their recommendation might be for you for senior year. One thing to notice on the slide here is Don't overload yourself. The AP courses have a lot of reading and writing in those courses, regardless of what type of course it is. So you want to make sure that you have time for that. So keep that in mind. What else are you involved in? Are you involved in any type of activity on campus or outside of school? So please make sure you keep that in mind. And then any AP course that is a core course counts for additional GPA points. So if it is counting towards a core class, like let's say English 4 AP, then you would earn more GPA points for an AP class versus an honors or an on-level class. So those are just some things to think about if you're interested in selecting an AP course for senior year. Okay, one of our other opportunities is dual credit. Here at Plano East, we have an actual dual credit counselor in our counseling office every day to work with our students. Her name is Medea Ashraf, and Miss Ashraf is here to assist students with dual credit courses, or if they're interested in going to Collin College or any type of college and career information, she is available to work with students. We do offer, as you can see from the slide, lots of dual credit classes. So we offer things for English, history, math, science, wide variety of courses. Even if your child has never taken a dual credit class, because dual credit actually doesn't start until 11th grade. So let's say your child did not sign up for a dual credit class for currently. That doesn't mean that they cannot jump into the dual credit program for senior year. We've got English and history courses for senior year. Some of the math courses, depending on where your student is at math-wise. So we do have a wide variety. The students do not go over to Collin College. That's the nice part about dual credit. They actually stay here on campus and the professors come to us. So that's a win-win. Trying to get students over there. Many years ago, we figured out that that did not work. So now the professors come here. It's a class period, just like any other class. And it's very convenient for students. As you'll see, the tuition for those classes, approximately $162 for Collin County residents for each class. The textbooks range anywhere from $80 to $150. And then some of the math courses have online workbooks that are required also. Again, this is the exact same cost that if the student were to go over to Collin College and take the class there, it's the same price, but you're having the convenience of having it during the school day. You're getting both high school credit and you're getting college credit. So that's a win-win. You already have to take a lot of these courses for your high school graduation, and in turn, you're getting some college credits. These are certainly courses I would consider if your child is planning on staying in the state of Texas to either go to Collin College after Plano East, or if they're planning on going to a college or university here in the state of Texas. This is a good opportunity for them to get a head start on courses that they would have to take senior year anyway, and now they're getting some college credit for those also. So something to think about. I encourage you to talk to your student about it. And then note at the bottom, if a student is on free or reduced lunch, then the cost is waived for the course and the textbook. So a lot of times. So there's things that we can do to assist that if a student needs help with that. The next slide here is just a kind of a checklist for students that are interested in dual credit. You'll apply to Collin College just like you would if you were going to go directly to Collin College. That's part of the process. And there's permission forms, there's safety training, there's the TSI test. There's all types of stuff that require students to do. So please know that if your child selects to do a dual credit course on the course selection page, when they're in the computer and they're selecting classes, that's not the end of the process. It's a very step-by-step process that students have to do in order to be eligible to take the class. So just because you sign up for it, then you do have to, like I said, apply to Collin College. You have to get the correct forms. You have to do a lot of different things that would make you then eligible to be in the class when school starts. We are having an informational meeting coming up. So if maybe you're sitting here thinking, I might be interested in that, or that might be a good fit for my student. And the dual credit classes do earn honors grade points. So they do get some extra grade points there versus an on-level class if they're interested in dual credit. And on the slide here, you'll see that in the middle down there at the bottom, Plano East is going to host an informational meeting. Right now, it is scheduled to be in person. That is on February the 9th, and that will be from 6 to 7 p.m. in our cafeteria. If the district implements any other changes where we have to remain virtual for meetings, then our meeting will go online. But for right now, it's scheduled with our dual credit counselor, Ms. Ashworth, and several of the Plano East counselors would be there to help answer questions about the dual credit program and to help you determine whether or not your student might be interested in pursuing that. Okay, so now let's get started talking about our course selection sheet and planning. What you're going to see now on the next slide is what was emailed out to you on Friday. So this past Friday, you should have received an email that had a copy of all of the course options that the district is hoping to put out there. And then this worksheet was also attached to it. So you should have gotten that. I believe it went out Friday afternoon to all the 11th grade parents. And so if you'll, the very first thing that to talk about on that sheet is discussing some of the endorsements and then talking about the career and technical education programs. And so this sheet right here, I know online it's not clear, but it is one of the options on the resource page that you receive. So if you will, again, remember to bookmark that resource page. Down at the bottom, it shows you that the CTE, that chart that you just saw is down there at the bottom under the career and technical education. Then you'll see there's videos. So there's a link to look at videos about every single elective and program that's offered in the district at the various schools. So if maybe you have questions about a particular program or a particular class, you can read about it in the course catalog. But then if you go down to the link at the bottom of the resource page here, you can actually see a video where kids in our district have gone through and made these really neat videos with all kinds of information about the different classes and programs that we offer. So I highly encourage you to spend some time looking at that so that you make good selections for your senior year. And then down at the bottom, it talks about the programs of study and how they align with the various endorsements that students are working towards. In Plano ISD, we set up students to graduate on the Foundation with Endorsement Plan. That's the 26 credit plan program. And these endorsements are listed here and tied to their career and technical education program. As you can see, here are the 5 different endorsements. You probably remember maybe back when you're a student entered 9th grade, you selected a pathway for an endorsement. So there's the arts and humanities, and there's quite a few different options of endorsements under that. There's the business and industry. That's where all these CTE courses come into factor. There's the multidisciplinary plan that also has several options. Public service can be things like ROTC, and again, those career technical education programs, and then the STEM, which would be like math and science and computer science. So a student needs to earn at least 1 endorsement. And again, you probably selected that with your student back in 9th grade, but they can earn as many endorsements as they make select classes that go with those. All right, so first on that worksheet that you got on Friday through the email, ask you to select a level of English. So you can see there that what I would encourage you to do is to find that email, print out that worksheet, and then have your student go ahead and work on circling things on that so that when they meet with their counselor next week, so we're going to be going into all of the English 3 classes next week, and they'll be meeting with the counselor in that room. The counselor will be doing a presentation and then working with them on their course selection. If you already have discussed it and circled some of these things, the student can bring the selection worksheet with them, which will help just go over the process. We are going to be giving out a transcript to each student. So when they arrive in the English classroom next week, depending on which day we'll be in, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, and they'll receive their transcript. And then if they have this worksheet somewhat completed, that will help the process and help them understand what else that they need. So you'll see all your choices for English are on here. Then the next option would be math. We want students to take 4 years of math. Some students will have taken a math in middle school, and so they're currently now as a junior in their 4th math class. You're required to have 4 for the foundation endorsement plan, but we do encourage you in the counseling department, if you're planning on your post-secondary plans include going to college, we encourage you to continue on in a math to keep those skills up, because it doesn't seem to matter what type of college degree that you're planning on pursuing, you are required to at least have a couple of math classes depending on what you're pursuing. So you want to keep those skills up. So even if you've already completed at the end of junior year your 4th math, I would encourage you to select one of these other math classes. There's some dual credit. There's things like digital electronics if you're interested in something in the computer science field. The computer science courses do the AP count per math credit. There's calculus, there's accounting too. So there's a wide variety of courses that students can choose from, even if they've already met their 4 years of math. If you decide you do not want to select a math because you've already completed your 4 years, that is up to you, but we do recommend that you take one senior year regardless. All right, science. As you saw earlier, you do need a 4th year of science, and there are a lot of options from anatomy to earth and space. So again, if you're interested in engineering, there's an engineering design. There's a forensic science class. If you have law enforcement, then you can take the forensic science course. There is a, if you've had physics, if you've already, or you're currently in physics, and we've got 2 AP physics courses to choose from, Physics 1-2 AP or Physics CAP. You do have to have had physics or honors physics prior to taking one of the AP courses. We have environmental systems, we have AP environmental science. So we again have a wide variety of science courses. If you're interested in something maybe in the healthcare field, we have a dual credit biology course that you could certainly look at taking if you're interested in going to something in the medical field. That is certainly an option for you also. Okay, social studies. Everyone is required to take 1 semester of government and 1 semester of economics for their social studies requirement. So you can see there that there are a couple of options for students. There's AP economics on level, and then there's dual credit economics. That's an option. And then same thing for government. There is government on level AP and a dual credit government. So you can be thinking about that again. Those are individual courses. The government is separate from the economics. So you'll take one of each of those. You can do 1 level in one. Government is a lot like your US history class. and reading and things like that. The economics seems to be a little bit tougher class. The material in there most of the time, the vocabulary and looking at some of the things, the stock market and so forth that students study sometimes can be a little more challenging. But so those are two separate classes. You can pick two different levels in those. That's totally up to you. Again, might be a good discussion to have with your current U.S. history teacher as to what they recommend for you for your social studies credit for senior year. Okay, then as we talked about a little while ago, I'll just quickly go over that again. You do need a semester of health, a semester of speech, a year of fine art, a year of PE, and those 2 credits of foreign language. So that those, remember, are required courses. Like I said earlier, we're going to give your student a copy of their transcript for them to bring home for you to look at so that you can review the credits that they've completed and then see what courses they want to sign up for that they still need. Please note that even though we're not meeting with students individually for academic conferences this year, the counselors will be reviewing each student's selection, what they picked, and then making sure they are meeting all those graduation requirements. So rest assured that there will be, we will be looking at those, checking off all of those over the next month or so, and then contacting students if we see that something is missing that you didn't select on the course selection, but maybe you have another plan, such as e-school or something of that nature, then that your counselor for that student will follow up and make note of that and make sure they have a plan to meet all 26 credits they need for graduation. In addition, if you don't need any more foreign language, then you certainly in this next spot number 5 would pick an elective. And again, all of the courses are listed in that email that you received both back in December and the one that went out this past Friday. So you can pick any elective course if you don't want to do any more foreign language. After the 2 years, it's not required. If you know what college you want to go to, then I would say do your research and look and see if they want any more years of foreign language, or if you enjoy a language, feel free to sign up. We have levels 3, 4, and 5 in lots of our languages. So if you want to continue with that, that's certainly an option. If you don't, then you pick another elective off the sheet. Then the 6th spot, remember we're a 7-period day. Plano East has 7 periods. So in that 6th spot, again, you would select another elective off of the page there. Please spend some time, like I said, looking at those videos, the CTE videos, and reading in the course catalog about the classes. We will give students all the way until May the 2nd to make any changes. So even though you're going to be going in next week and students will be entering in their classes, there'll be another opportunity for you to review the schedule later on in April with what you selected. And then the deadline to make any changes after that would be May 2nd. So we encourage you to really put some thought into this. After that May 2nd deadline, we've done our hiring and set up our scheduling. And after that point, we don't allow students to make those changes. So please use the next couple of months to really think about what would be the interest that the student has and select courses accordingly. The last spot on the 7-period day would be another elective. And so I know you may be thinking, well, wait, I thought as a senior I didn't have to take all 7 periods. And you're right. You will see as we go along that I want to first point out to you the arrival times. Since you all have been here for a year, you know we have an 8 o'clock arrival time and we have a 9 o'clock arrival time. Remember, if you do sign up for 8 o'clock, you have to have your own way here. Either you need to drive, the student needs to drive themselves, or they need to have a way to get here. The buses do run for the 9 o'clock time. But as you will see, here's the senior release options. So as a junior, you know, your student had to take 7 classes. But as a senior, If they meet one of these qualifications, they can reduce their schedule down some. So the first single senior release period would mean that a senior would only have to take 6 classes. And so here's the criteria for that. This is what the district has implemented. You have to be on the Foundation with Endorsement graduation plan. And that's the plan we've been talking about all evening, the 26 credit plan. You have to have passed all your EOC exams. So I know you might be thinking, well, we haven't taken that US history one yet, we don't know. That's okay, you can still select senior release for now. And then as long as you pass, you'll get to keep that senior release. If for some reason you were absent and didn't pass, then you would have an opportunity in the summer to take that EOC for US history and still keep your senior release. So please keep that in mind. Then you have to have completed 17 credits by December of 11th grade. So that transcript that you're going to get in class next week, that your student's going to get in class next week, will tell them how many credits they have. If they have at least 17 credits and meet this other criteria that you see, then they can reduce their schedule by 1 period. So let's say your student was going to come in at 9 o'clock and do the 6-period day, the 1 period of senior release, then that means that they would get out at 3:19. If a student wanted to come in at 8 o'clock and do the 1 period of senior release, then they would get out at 2:23. So again, it's something for you to discuss, make sure that there's transportation. If you get out early, you are expected to leave the campus. We don't allow students to just stay on campus. We do ask that you leave if you have the senior release. Then you'll see double senior release means that you only have to take 5 classes. So for double senior release, again, you have to be on the Foundation with Endorsement graduation plan. Again, you have to have passed all of your EOC tests. This one, you have to have 17.5 credits. So when you get your transcript next week, the student will look and see how many credits do I have overall. And then at the very bottom, you'll see this one requires that you be enrolled in 3 or more AP or IB courses per semester to qualify for the 5-period day. So there's a little more involved in the double senior release than in the single senior release. But again, this information, there is a presentation again on that resource page that I keep showing you that was sent out in the emails for you to be able to see again this criteria for if a student wanted to do a single senior release or a double senior release. Okay, then any alternates. Not all of the classes on this sheet that you're seeing here or that you received on Friday will be offered. We're going to try to offer as many as we possibly can. But some of them you will see, they'll tell you that they're either offered over at Plano Senior High or Plano West. Students can still show an interest in those if they want to. We take something else, like for instance, Plano Senior High has auto paint and body. We have auto tech here at Plano East, but they have an auto paint and body. So if your student was interested in that, then they would spend part of their day over at Plano Senior High, and then the other part of their day they would be here at Plano East. Again, there's some options on there, but we want you to pick alternates because unfortunately, there's no way to potentially staff for every single one of these classes. But we want to try to offer as many as possible, but we do want you to have some alternates in mind in case something you selected doesn't end up working with your schedule. All right, so as I said earlier, you should have a 7-period day. Again, when you count in like a senior release, that would count as one of those 7. So when you're working through planning your schedule, please plan accordingly for that so that when you get ready to put those courses into the course selection. So as I said, it'll start next Monday, the 31st. Obviously, there's not enough of us to go in every single English class on day 1. So it'll be spread out, as I mentioned earlier, through the week. So we'll be targeting some of the classes on Monday, some on Tuesday, some on Wednesday, and some on Thursday. And Friday would be a day if for some reason your student happened to be absent on the day that we went to their English class. Will be available that Friday, next Friday, the February the 4th, to be able to work with those students. And then you'll have that weekend to finalize what you want to do. So the self-serve will cut off on February the 6th for 11th grade students. And at that point, if a student did not put in their schedule, then the counselor would put in the schedule. So please make sure you take advantage of getting to put in your own schedule and deciding what you want to take so that you can get that put in the way you would like. So here is also, this is also on that resource page that I keep referring to. This is how a student would log in to get to the self-serve screen. So again, we're going to walk them through this next week, but the information is also available to you now for you to at least be able to see how to access this. So the student would log into their PISD Student Active Directory, just like they do for anything looking at grades or anything like that. And then it'll pop up their web desk. So every student has a web desk with all these different icons on it that they access for different classes, for different things that they may need. And you'll see there's one called Counseling Roadmap. And that one has several little icons available to students. And one of those icons says on their Teams course request registration. And it's the white one in there with blue and red writing, and they would click on that. And then they'll be asked to log in and then be able to see, okay, click here for your English choices, click here for your math. Some of the items like the arrival time are kind of tricky and hidden, and they're like under the electives. So again, click on every tab and look for what it is that you're searching for. It's all there except for things like tryout or audition. So like if you're thinking, I'm going to try out for cheerleader, that's not something you can sign up for, or drill team, things like that are not going to be on the self-serve. We'll put you in that once that tryout process happens. But all the electives, all the core classes, your senior release options are on there. The arrival times are on there. And so if you don't see something that you're looking for, you certainly can email your counselor after we come in next week and go over everything with you if you don't find something that you're looking for. Okay, this page right here is just a snapshot of when you go to the pisd.edu and /PESH, so our Plano East Counseling website, or our actual school district website, there's a tab at the top that says counseling. When you click on that, it'll pull you up to this page here, along with that picture you saw earlier of all of us. And here are all the tabs of things that you can access on our Plano East website. We have tried to put as many things as we can think of that will help you on our website, easily accessible. So we've got things from alumni transcripts to all the application tryout information to college and career. There's our dual credit tab. There's all the worksheets, the registration forms, the process for dual credit is all on that tab there. That flyer that we showed you earlier about the meeting, that's on there. There's the link for the course catalog. All of these course registration things that we went over tonight are listed on the tab there. There's education and career choices. There's FAQs. There's graduation information, iCollege, Naviance, and as you go on down, more and more things for you to look at if need be. So we've tried to give you as much information at your fingertips, but again, this is on our Plano East website under counseling. Okay, then the last thing I want to talk to you about is the college application process. So we will be meeting with the juniors again sometime in April to go over with them the applications, talk about transcripts, talk about SAT, ACT testing, talk about recommendation letters. So all of this will be addressed later on with the juniors after we finish up the course selection process. So at a later date, we'll be working with those students so that they know what they need to be doing over the summer and working on to make sure they find the colleges they're interested in or whatever post-secondary things that they're interested in. We want to make that available to students so they have a direction to go. Also on our counseling webpage, there will be our junior handbook with lots of college information in there also available to students. So we do want you to know that we are going to talk to your students again about that. Again, we also do that at the start of senior year. We'll be talking with the 12th graders when your child's a 12th grader next year. We target those kids in September. We have a parent meeting again about the whole post-secondary process. One of the things that I did not put on the PowerPoint, but I would like for you to mark your calendar on March the 23rd. So March the 23rd, we will be giving a school day SAT to all juniors. So on March the 23rd, your student does not need to register. They do not need to do anything but be here on campus that day. The school district is paying for that SAT, and we will have your child already signed up and ready to go. So please just mark that date on your calendar so that you want to make sure your student's here that day to take that official SAT test. Now, they're certainly welcome to take any of the other SAT tests on Saturdays. There's one in May, there's one in June, there's one in August. So there's lots of other dates that you all can pay and do on your own, but this one is actually paid for and during the school day on March the 23rd. So please know that we want to, give every student an opportunity to take the SAT. Some colleges are still asking for SAT scores, and a lot are not. And we know that, but we do want to give your child the opportunity to actually take the test. So please, again, mark your calendar for that March 23rd date. Okay, our presentation has ended for the evening. We are going to leave the chat open until 7 o'clock. So that gives you about 15 minutes. If you have any specific questions about anything that I was talking about, or just questions that we didn't address somehow about the course selection process, please feel free to write your question in the chat. We've got counselors answering those chat questions. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll end the chat in the meeting. So thank you so much for joining us here from the Plano East Counseling Department. We're here to work with you and your student. Feel free to email questions that you might have if we didn't address those. When you think of something later on, please, we're here to assist and walk you through this process since it is something new that we're doing this year. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you need something. Again, thank you and have a nice evening.